I'm Janet Marstein, Assistant Professor and Director of the Institute of Museum Ethics, or IME, at Seton Hall University. On November 15, 2008, the IME held its inaugural conference defining museum ethics at Seton Hall before an audience of 160, including a mix of museum professionals and museum studies faculty and students from across the U.S. Support was provided by the Institute of Museum and Library Services and the Office of the Dean, College of Arts and Sciences at Seton Hall. At the IME, we are concerned with the many ways that social, economic, political, and technological forces are creating new challenges in all areas of museum activity, and this is clear in the conference. The talks, by diverse museum professionals and academics who have made significant contributions to the theory and practice of museum ethics, demonstrate that ethics concerns all areas of museum work, from business practices to educational programming, conservation to exhibitions, as ethical dilemmas occur in every department, and each of us can work for the common good. The papers convey our mission at the IME, to promote transparency, accountability, and social responsibility in the museum. Together, they confirm that museum ethics is an opportunity for growth rather than a burden of compliance. In his keynote presentation, Richard Sandell, director of the Museum Studies program at the University of Leicester, argues for a socially engaged museum that is committed to access for all. He sees encouraging developments, but cites evidence of a backlash. Using the case study of a fascinating research project that he oversees on disability representation at 9 museums across the UK, Sandell calls such work activist practice. This is not an activism born of a particular political persuasion, but one that comes simply from a respect for human rights and a belief that to keep silent is not to be objective, but to accept prejudice and marginalization. The speakers in the first session, Identifying Problems, Negotiating Solutions, considers topics as disparate as wall texts, conservation of machinery, post-NAGPRA collaborations, and business practices. What they share is a commitment to transparency and accountability in the museum, which in turn engenders public trust. The papers in the second session, Museums as Catalysts of Social Change, consider how institutions use the past to address present concerns, facilitate dialogue among diverse groups, and provide access to previously marginalized groups. The case studies that the presenters highlight are the kinds of projects for which keynote speaker Sandell calls. In our final session, a discussion aptly titled Defining Museum Ethics, 6 panelists identify larger patterns and theoretical issues from the conference. Judith Stark, professor of philosophy of Seton Hall, holds that ethical principles do not change over time, but the way that we apply them does. Many of the other panelists engage in a discussion about activism, advocacy, objectivity, and what these terms mean in the museum context. There is little agreement. What we do agree on is that museum ethics is first and foremost about an institution's relationship with its publics.